So welcome everyone to the second installment of the TCA Orientation. TCA's somebody asked me just in the last 24 hours, what the heck is TCA? And I was like, well, the TCA is the Cowboy Academy, and you were inducted into it just a couple of years ago. And it kind of serves the purpose, it kind of demonstrates why we are having these orientations, is because we are 68 members strong as it stands right now, with 4 distinguished past members who have passed away in addition to that. And in that 68 member group, there is a relatively large percentage that doesn't really hasn't had an opportunity to understand or exposure to what the Cowboy Academy is and what we're trying to accomplish. And so I've been president for about a year, and I guess it's just over a year. And one of the things I've learned in that process is that that we need to make sure that our members are more informed of what this academy is all about. So that's the purpose of today's call. I'm going to show a few slides and talk through them a little bit. And we can then have some open discussion if you guys have questions. And feel free to interrupt. If I push the conversation along a little bit, if we get kind of bogged down in the weeds, I may push the conversation along a little bit just to make sure I'm observant of our time constraints, because I know you guys are all busy people. So with that being said, I'm going to share my screen and share this PowerPoint presentation. So let's get that there. So we're going to talk, I'm right now having Sundaresh and Alan Sherman develop just a summary paragraph about the history of TCA and kind of how it was founded, but I can describe that a little bit. I'm at a bit of a disadvantage in that I wasn't in the original founding of it. Ken Case was early involved, Tom Britton on this call. I think Jack and Bill all were involved before I was, but it's my understanding, and any of those individuals I just named, feel free to step in and correct me, but it's my understanding that Sundaresh had heard about an academy type organization at the University of Arkansas with regard to that was formed in association with their School of Industrial Engineering. And Alan Sherman actually served on that academy, and with Alan's experience with that, we had a alumni in John English, who's at the University of Arkansas, along with Ken Case's input. There was some internal conversations about, hey, we should possibly put an organization like this together. And the goals of that were multi-pronged, and I show those to you here, which is, first and foremost, to recognize the accomplishment of OSU IEM alumni. And so the people that are inducted into the academy are accomplished individuals. So they tend to be more seasoned. These aren't recent graduates. They're people who have had long, distinguished careers. And so that was really kind of the foundation of where the academy began. The reality is, it takes money to make any organization work, and the University of Oklahoma State has to have money. We all know Mr. Boone Pickens and what kind of impact he's had on the university, but there's a lot of large donors that have made significant impact on various schools within the university, as well as the athletic programs. And Sundaresh, just knowing what he was up against to be able to provide the best resources for a program that we want to be one of the top in the country. It was going to take some dollars as well, and so as part of the dance that you have when you form an organization like this is you're wanting to recognize that alumni. You want them to get involved in a program, and hopefully they will see the value and have the philanthropic aspect to give back to the program based on their success. So that was kind of the impetus of how it all got formed, and we copied a lot off of the Arkansas Academy's inner workings, and we started forming that organization. I believe it was 2016 was the first inducted class, and then we've been around for about 5 years. And you can see here the purpose of the Academy is to recognize alumni, harness their expertise and talent to produce more distinguished alumni, serve as role models for the students, increase our school's visibility externally. So these are to other schools across the United States, as well as prospective students and faculty, serve as a sounding board to the school, and help with special projects as guided by the TCA vision and mission. So this comes straight out of a integrated framework document that the Academy has produced, which is a comprehensive document that goes through our purpose, our mission, our vision, and our bylaws. And so I've just pulled some pieces out of that to kind of guide to take you down this road. Now, this kind of stuff is relatively vague. As we move throughout the presentation, we're going to get much more specific, more traction with feet on the ground. So the mission of the Cowboy Academy. So take it to another level of detail. When we're tying in here these financial resources. So TCA will aggressively utilize financial and external business resources to create a unequaled student learning and career placement experience. And it goes on to say that specifically TCA will assist the program in the following ways. And there are these 4 methods: in enhancing the external visibility through marketing programs, so that we, in the pursuit of achieving a top 20 school ranking, as well as to influence students and parents and recruiters and academic peers, etc. Another is to provide financial support individually and through the active pursuit of business contributions to strengthen the program. A third is to enhance student career opportunities. And this would be in the areas of mentoring and education and shepherding students, giving them access to a distinguished alumni in our careers and our experience and our insight. And then the fourth is a unique and beneficial partnership between the business community and in the School of Industrial Engineering to develop a partnership such that we can have a steady sharing of information and value between industry and the university, and specifically the School of Industrial Engineering. And we talk about the Center of Business Excellence, which is the thinking there being this partnership between specific companies and the program. So that's our goal. And these 4 key mission components actually have turned in, we've formed committees that are focused on moving the ball forward in all 4 of these areas. And there's committee chairs and committee members, and they meet regularly with the goal of trying to pursue these components of the mission of TCA. So I'm going to stop just for a minute and point out something that may not be clearly obvious to everyone, which is the TCA, as its founding and its purpose and its mission when it was originally built, was not just to be a honorary academy where you put your name on the wall, you put your picture on the wall and say this is a Hall of Fame of industrial engineering people that went to Oklahoma State. This is an active group that is trying to help students and help the program move it forward for years to come. So that doesn't mean that every single person in the academy has to be at the same level of investment, whether it's financially or with their time or their effort. But we definitely want to send a clear message that the Academy is an active organization trying to move the program forward. So we'll move on to the leadership. So the current leadership, the officers are myself. I'm in my second year of my term. It's a 2-year term as president. Jack Gertz will be the incoming president in September 2021, and he'll serve a 2-year term as president. Currently, Stacy Robel is the secretary, but we are in the process of electing new directors and new officers. This may change a bit, but today Stacy's the secretary, and Mr. Tom Britton, who's on this call today, is the treasurer.
Mitch, could I just rewind for a second? I don't want to iterate, but when I think about the mission slide that you put up, I think it's important for everybody to realize that these were developed after we developed what our vision for TCA is, or we wanted it to be. And I think it would be worthwhile to define that, or it is defined, but at least stated purposes here. The TCA vision is for graduates to achieve their most valued and rewarding careers. And the way we arrived at that very briefly was through a lot of discussion and soul searching about what we thought that would be something that would be unique in a strategic sense between OSU, IEM, and other industrial engineering schools around the country. And that is that we focus on doing whatever we can to help graduates achieve their most rewarding careers in their value system. And it was from that this mission and goals were derived. So when you look at the purpose framework that Mitch mentioned, you'll see that vision and the strategic excellence position, which is the foundation for this mission. So I'll leave it at that, Mitch, and then you can continue on.
So there is a board of directors. The board currently there were 11 directors a month ago. We're in the process of, I've already had one resign. We've had another one announce their intentions to resign due to some family medical issues. We've got 4 new board members who should be rolling on. They're out for vote very shortly. If you haven't received an opportunity to vote, all active members will be getting a form to vote for incoming directors. But there are 11 directors to be had, and so there's a few rolling off and a few that have resigned, and then new incoming directors. And then we've talked about these committees. So these mission-based committees, going back to we have these 4 components of the mission that we're after. Well, the first, I just want to kind of go through these in detail because I've received this question just in the last 2 weeks. I've received this question at least 3 times from 3 different TCA members, and it was, "Hey, I hear you have a marketing committee. What are we marketing? What is TCA trying to market?" And so today, Bill DeWeese is the acting chair. He he agreed to step in when Dave Boyer, who had been chairing the marketing committee for a couple of years, rolled off. And Dave resigned because he had just gotten a new position and decided he couldn't commit the time to be the chair. And so Bill graciously stepped in as an acting chair until we could find another individual to replace him. But that group has two key components. One is to increase the visibility of the program to prospective students and faculty. So we're not marketing. Somebody asked me, why are we marketing the academy? Why would TCA be marketing itself? Well, we're not. We're not. In fact, we don't try to market TCA at all. What we're trying to do is reach out to students and faculty, students and parents, and possibly faculty, to say, hey, you need to know about Oklahoma State Industrial Engineering, what we're doing, the value of our program, the types of student and faculty we already have, the types of graduates we are graduating, the type of alumni we have, because we want more students to consider coming to school at Oklahoma State and study industrial engineering. Likewise, we want the best and the brightest faculty to consider working at Oklahoma State. And so that's a marketing activity. And so one of the aspects, for example, right now is we are buying social media advertisements and pushing, whether it's still print media or whether it's video interviews of faculty or students or various individuals that are promoting, alumni who are promoting the program. And the second thing the marketing group is there to do is to promote visibility of the OSU IEM program to improve our national ranking. Now, you may or may not know this, but U.S. News and World Report's rankings of schools is somewhat of a coveted ranking that universities use and students use and parents use and faculty uses to decide where they want to go to school, where they want to work, what they want to investigate. And so we are actively, one moment. You can't come in here and do a session. Sorry. This is trying to do a session in my son's house. My son's room. So he came in here to get to his room. But we're trying to basically promote the programs because it's very similar to, say, the Associated Press college football rankings or coaches poll, whereas they send out ballots every year to rank programs, say 1 to 50, and rank a industrial engineering program, a civil engineering program, a business management program, et cetera. And those that visibility and that perception of the school's importance and value is used to rank these programs. And so that's another reason why we market, is we are trying to make sure we're reaching other influencers throughout the United States and the community that ranks these programs. So that's what the marketing committee's role is. We actually have a marketing intern that we've hired, for a senior from the business college, to help assist the program develop these advertisements and push them out. Additionally, Webco, which is Dave Boyer's company that he's the CEO of, Webco donated the money to have a professional marketing firm in the Tulsa area build a comprehensive marketing plan for the School of Industrial Engineering. And so there's a very multifaceted approach on how to go to market, what types of media content we need, et cetera. And so all of that's been developed, and we're in the process of executing that. So that is an active committee that has a pretty mature, developed plan, and now is in the process of executing that plan to accomplish these two components. Then we have a fundraising arm. The chair on this call is Tom Britton. He did a much better job of explaining to you what we're trying to do here. But at a high level, in collaboration with the foundation, our goal is to encourage financial support to the OSU IEM program from industry and individuals. And so Tom has been building a group, working closely with Bryce from the foundation and other foundation members to analyze the giving that has occurred thus far, make sure that we have clear boundaries set on where our group might reach out to individuals or companies versus the foundation to manage those types of relationships. Work on the idea of things like minimum annual required distributions that are as people retire and they're required to take distributions from retirement accounts. Maybe we can direct some of that towards the OSU IEM program, or whether it's a trust, like a life insurance trust, or just any kind of estate planning gifts, or active gifts from members who just want to give back to the program. And so it's trying to, the foundation focuses in lots of different directions, and there is an engineering aspect to the foundation, but this group is specifically set to working with the industrial engineering program to further our solicitation of giving to the program. The third is the Career Opportunities Group. It's chaired by Leva Swim. Leva is Vice President of Data Informatics at Stillwater Regional Medical Center. So she's located in Stillwater. And her committee's role is to provide mentorship and guidance to current students and recent graduates. They've got two areas of focus right now. One is a mentoring program, and they've kind of got a pilot program going on right now where I think they have roughly 10 mentors and mentees paired up together, where they have maybe monthly phone calls. If the dynamics suit, they might have a Zoom call or go have coffee together. But simply an opportunity for that student to gain guidance, bounce ideas off of distinguished alumni, get some feedback on career direction, or interviewing, any type of feedback that any of these students might need. Maybe what field of industrial engineering they want to go into. The other item that this group is focused on is webinars or panels of subject matter experts who will pick a topic each month. We'll have a scheduled webinar, and the topic might cover things like the value and application of having your professional engineering certificate or license in your state or your region, in the industry you're in. Another one might be healthcare and what the value, how to apply industrial engineering to healthcare. Just various subject matter experts that might kind of talk about those areas and just educate students so they're in a better position as they come out of school to hit the ground running, or recent graduates who are still trying to find their way. And then finally, this Center of Excellence, we've gone through a recent chair transition. John Womack, who has recently been the chair of the IAB, or the Industrial Engineering Advisory Board. He has taken on this committee, and he's been refining the scope this scope has been a little slippery to get our hands clearly around. But the goal of it, as we talked about in the mission, is to build partnerships with industry and schools so that industry has insight to the value of an industrial engineering student, to the value of an industrial engineering faculty coming in and providing consulting resources into their business. We're hoping that industry will, have a constant rotation of hiring and recruiting our graduates. leveraging the faculty members such that they get that the business gets the value of analytical approaches to their business, and then the faculty member gets the value of the experience. I know some on the phone call here would push very hard for our professors that are teaching the students to have more industry experience, to provide more real world examples. And one of the goals of this Center of Excellence would be to allow faculty to get more experience in industry by providing consulting resources. In the same regard, students would have access to internships and co-ops and projects, so that they're getting some real world experience while still in school, which is challenging at times to get while you're going through school, is to get those opportunities to get your feet actually in a real, on the ground in a real project. So that's the goal, is to build these intimate relationships between business and the School of Industrial Engineering. And one of the side goals we hope to get from it long term is that those relationships become more and more intimate. Those companies see the value of the School of Industrial Engineering and will invest financially in the school, which can have a big impact long term.
Mitch, let me do a shout out for fundraising real quickly. There are two streams of fundraising activities that go on. One of them is an endowment stream. An endowment stream is where the money is banked in the foundation and is untouchable in perpetuity, and the only monies that can be received are the interest from that principal on an annual basis. The other stream is unrestricted funds, where people just write a check, give it to the Sunderich, he puts it into an account, and he's free to draw upon that at will and as he needs it. So on the endowment side, the IEM strategic plan specifies a $20 million endowment fund that is the strategic fundraising goal. Of that, $7 million has either been received or has been pledged, which leaves $13 million unaccounted for and yet to be achieved. So on the endowment side, we're using the strategic plan as the pivot point, and we're going to be looking for $13 million over an undefined number of years to fill up that $20 million strategic pledge. On the unfunded, unrestricted side, I can give you some numbers about what the history has been. And what we want to do is we want to increase these amounts. But over the last 10 years, for scholarships, IEM has received about $80,000 a year. For annual gifts, which are not specified in any particular activity, but pretty much spread across a broad spectrum, IEM has received about $75,000 a year. And then in 2019, because of the renovation, IEM received about $575,000, or about on an average of $56,000 a year. So when you put those pieces together, there's about 120, about $200,000 a year that IEM receives in unrestricted funds. So the fundraising committee's bite of this is to put together a program that will be going out to the alumni, friends, and businesses to increase the amount of money that goes into the endowment and increase the amount of money that's unrestricted in Sunderich has a lot of flexibility to use. And so the committee is working to that end, and the plans are to kick off the program in 2021. And we're in some of the final stages of putting that campaign together. So you'll hear more about that as we move into 2021.
Yep, and just to fill that in, Tom, this is a document, I'm sure, I assume everyone can see it, but this is a document that's posted out on the OSU IEM website under fundraising, and it talks about the next 5 generations. And you might see here that in this section, it talks about the $20 million that they're wanting to raise and their return on that and where that money is supposed to go. So if you have some interest in just kind of wondering what Tom's group's trying to raise money for and how much, and this document is intended to give some background to that. Is that true, Tom?
Correct.
Yeah. So we've talked a little bit about the committees. There's also 3 committees that support the organization of TCA. One is, and they're administrative in nature. One is the membership committee, chaired currently by Laura Easley. This group gets together for a couple of months a year. Works. It's formed and has some activity a couple of months of the year, which is to facilitate the annual work of membership identification, recruitment, vetting, and elections for new TCA members. So there's a process that we go through to identify members and recruit them. And then if they agree to be up for nomination, then we vet them and then we hold an election. And Laura's committee, the membership committee, facilitates that. There's also a nominating committee chaired by Brenda Shoemate, which facilitates annual work of board directors and president-elect identification, recruitment, vetting, and elections. And in fact, Brenda's committee right now is working to get these new 4 board members. They've gone through the identification, recruitment, and vetting pieces, and we're actually in the process of holding elections. And then finally is the finance chair, Tom Britton. The treasurer is the de facto chair of the finance committee. And so that's why Tom is the chair of this committee. This committee is pretty light as far as the level of effort is required, but to manage the annual budget and cash flows of the organization. And incidentally, Tom, after this call, don't let me forget, we had somebody ask me on a call early in this call about, hey, it's time for me to make my contribution to TCA, my minimum annual contribution. How do I do that? So I need to ping you on that.
So real quickly on that, I sent out, actually it came from Mitch about the end of August, I believe, which identified how to do that, how to actually make your contribution, and the link to the OSU giving site at the foundation so that you could use your credit card to make that donation. And there was also a reminder that the expectations are that we would all complete that by the end of December of this year, which is our target date to collect all of our contributions. For everybody's need, we've collected about $57,000 so far since TCA's inception. We spent some money, a little bit of money, about $12,000 first couple of years to underwrite the marketing activity and developing some videos to promote marketing. So the net of that is we've got about $40,000 in cash, and it's in an unrestricted account, and we watch. We don't have any major expenditures, so the money is sort of sitting there waiting to be utilized for the best purpose of TCA and IEM. But maybe we need to resend that memo.
It might be a good thing to send a reminder out. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this next slide may be I think it is the final slide, and then we can open it up for any questions or discussion. But this is membership types and privileges. So the board and the officers have spent quite a bit of time in the last few months trying to get our arms around membership. And the reason for that is when the organization, again, I told you this early in the call, but when the organization was founded, it was thought to be an active membership group. a group of people that would be actively committing their time to move the program forward, and their money, but their time primarily. And so one of the criterion to remain an active member was that there were two criterion. One was that you meet your minimum annual contribution payment each year. And the second one was that which we sometimes affectionately call dues. And then the second item is that you make at least one annual meeting every 2 years. And what we found ourselves in last year, 6 months ago, I was doing a review of the membership, and where we found ourselves was about a third of the members had not been to a meeting in the last 2 years, and some had never been to an annual meeting. And so we found ourselves, well, technically per the bylaws, they were no longer active members of the organization, and that didn't really set well with our officers, our board, and members. Had some concern about these requirements, and so we kind of did some hand wringing, trying to figure out what is it that we really want to. Who do we want to be? Do we just want to be an honorary organization where you're inducted, you pay your dues every year, you put your name on the wall, and that's all there is to this organization? And we had a very strong voice, set of voices within the TCA that said, no, that's not what we're here for. That's not why it was created. That's not what we want to be. And we're not ready to succumb to just being an honorary organization. And so the question is how do we encourage people to be actively involved, but allow for members that have reasons why they can't be as actively involved, whether it's because they've got too much work commitment or personal commitment or health issues or whatever it might be that they want to be as involved as they can be, but they just cannot commit to being as actively involved as what we would deem to be an active member. So we came up with this category of sustaining member to basically handle that grouping. And then this inactive group is primarily people who, just kind of fall off the radar. They don't pay their dues. They don't come to meetings. They're just really not involved at all. We do have a category of honorary members, and these are distinguished members who have contributed to the program, have made a dramatic impact in the area of industrial engineering. They are not required to pay dues. They do not have voting rights. They go through a totally different type of induction process. And then the final category of members are distinguished past members, and these are members that at one time were active members but have deceased. And as I told you, we've got 4 of those. So as you can see in these check marks, I just want you to be clear, because this is something, one of the most, for me, and what I'm hoping for you, one of the most valuable parts of this discussion, why you've committed yourself to an hour's worth of time, is to say, what is TCA? What are you guys doing? And what's my role in this? And here we are on the question of what's my role in this. Right now, if you intend to be an active member, we would expect that you would attend a minimum of 1 annual meeting every 2 years, and you'd make the minimum annual contribution. If you do those 2 things, you're considered to be an active member, and you have a full set of privileges, which are to vote on all matters. You can participate on a committee. We would encourage you to participate on a committee. Your brain and your passion is extremely valued in our group, and you can make a big difference in the students and the program over time. And it's a way for you to give back. So we'd love for you to be actively involved in a committee, but it's not required. It's a privilege. Same goes for being a committee chair, participating on the board, or participating as an officer. However, there are some members that are currently categorized as sustaining members, and these are members who have been inducted in previous years, but they have not attended a minimum of one annual meeting every 2 years. So for whatever reason, that member was inducted, but just hasn't made a meeting in the last 2 years. And by definition, per the new bylaws, they are considered a sustaining member. Those sustaining members still are required to make their minimum annual contribution, but they do lose privileges to serve in these active roles, whether it's voting, committees, committee chairs, board, officer type positions. Now, it's important to note the sustaining members, all they have to do is raise their hand and say, hey, I want to be more involved. I want to vote. I want to be on a committee. I want to be a committee chair, and I'm willing to attend an annual meeting. Can you move me from sustaining to active? And the answer will be yes. And it's just that simple. It's not a big bureaucratic process, but we are trying to understand what role each member really intends to be, because we do have several members who just flat say, I don't want to come to a meeting. I don't want to participate on a committee. I don't have time for it. I'm too old to do this. That's not where I want to spend my time in my older age. I want to paint, or I want to lay on a beach, and I don't want to think about all this stuff. I've had several members, I've had at least 3 tell me, yeah, please don't email me about meetings. I don't want to be on committees. The only reason to call me is if you need a check. And if you have something valuable that you want to invest in the program, call me up and make the pitch, and I might write you a big fat check. And I said, I understand what role you want to play. It's clear to me. So what I want you to think about to yourself is, what type of member do you want to be? What type of member will you be? What can we count on you to be? Because we do want you to participate. That's the goal of this organization, is we want you to be active. But we understand that not everyone can be. So we do have this other category.
Hey, Mitch.
Yes.
Sorry, Terry Bomrush here. I had a quick call, so I don't believe you covered this. I was just distracted for about 90 seconds. Are there mechanisms for transitioning between membership types?
Yep, that's what you've missed. So it's this simple.
Okay.
Send an email to any board member or to any officer and just say, hey, I'm a sustaining member currently, and I want to be an active member. Can I become an active member? And the return question will be, can you commit to being at the next annual meeting, either in person, electronically, or watch the recording of the meeting? You can do any of those 3. If you can commit to doing one of those 3, then yes, you can become with approval from the board, which will happen just like that. You'll become an active member, and then you'll be reinstated with full privilege.
So Mitch, it might be useful to break that down just a little bit. The bylaws say that the sustaining member can request immediate what's the word I'm looking for?
Reinstatement.
There you go. Thank you. Reinstatement as an active member, and
active member.
Only ask if that member is willing to agree to attend the next annual meeting in person or electronically, and then that request is submitted to the board.
Right.
The board will make the final decision, and all the privileges are immediately restored.
Or not,
assuming
depending on the
doesn't miss the meeting that they've committed to attend. If they miss that meeting, then all bets are off.
Sure.
So,
hey,
way to do it, but the board does approve it.
Hey, Mitch, humor me. I don't care about the confidentiality or anything. Am I now a sustaining member, or am I still an active member? Because I definitely have missed the last 2 or so meetings.
You got it. You can probably guess. You're a sustaining member.
Okay. Thank you.
But you can become an active member by just telling an officer you want to do that.
So then, should I be participating in the committee that I'm on and mentoring a student like I'm doing, or?
Well, technically, no.
Okay.
I will say this: that the board and the officers, I think, generally agree that we're never going to say don't be involved.
Sure.
But we are trying to send a message that, hey, if you're gonna, take the time to at least watch the recording of the last annual meeting, and then you check the checkbox. And you don't even have to actually be available at that moment. You can, at 10 o'clock at night, some night when you're getting ready to go to bed, you can you can throw in your phones and turn on your laptop and watch it for a few hours, and you've technically met the criteria.
So let me ask you, the meeting that I missed, unfortunately, because I had production issues at work, is that one recorded and I'll be able to watch it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'll send you an email and ask you for the link to that. It's probably been communicated, all that stuff. And I appreciate it. I didn't mean to distract everybody from my specific case. Tom
Well,
looks like he has something to say to me.
Yeah, I think also realize that we're in a moment of transition too. So the bylaws have just been approved.
Sure.
So,
Well, I know when Mitch met with me, I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that.
yeah.
So I appreciate the opportunity to be gently coached. I guess I'll say it that way. It was gentle. Trust me, I'd be a lot tougher, Mitch. Thanks.
Mitch, I have a question.
Yes.
I'm very much interested in mentoring people. I'm probably mentoring around 20 people here in Finland in the Aalto University IEM program. But nobody's contacted me to ask if I'd be willing to do that.
Okay.
And for me, it's a blanket yes to anybody who's in quality, reliability, or statistical engineering applications.
Okay.
So I'm basically in this chair 15 hours a day.
Yeah.
And so I have plenty of time to do a Zoom call or a Skype or whatever with people. So I'm happy to do it.
Greg, is it clear to you right now? And again, this is part of the reason we're doing what we're doing. Is it clear to you what committee you're a part of?
I'm supposed to be on Centers for Excellence, but I have never had any communication from anybody about anything.
Yeah. So John is just getting started, and he is, believe me, I understand the people who've been on the Center of Excellence committee feel a little bit lost, and that's our fault as leaders that it hasn't gotten off dead center. But I feel confident that John Womack is got the ball, and he's in it, and he's running fervently towards the end zone. And you will be getting contacted by that. But I'm going to also reach out to Leva Swim after this call and let her know that you're interested in being a mentor. And that's Leva's group, which is the Career Opportunities Group.
Yeah.
I'll have Leva reach out to you and let you know how to get connected into that aspect as well.
Super. I mean, I'm even a thesis advisor right now for 4 master's theses. So as an external, we have internal university advisors and external, and the external actually provides the industry relationships and so forth.
Yep.
And so I've worked with several universities here in Finland on their models, which are very different than the IEM model at OSU. And so I'm happy to share any of that with anybody who wants to have a conversation.
Perfect. So Megan and Eric, both of you, I haven't had a lot of interaction with you yet. And so I just kind of wanted to get your take on what you've heard today and how you're feeling, if you got any questions, et cetera.
Well, I'll go first. I really appreciate you doing this. I think I might have been one of the first group into the TCA, and I kind of got in, didn't know what I was getting into. And so this has been very helpful. I really appreciate it. Ken has, been always helpful as just someone to ask questions to. But I live in Kentucky, and I got small kids and 2 businesses, and it's crazy. And I'm just not really able to do much with any more organizations. I just sent you a text, but I'm cool with sustaining. I just tried to take care of my dues for the next couple of years, and I'll try to help any way I can, but I really am limited. But anyway, so I really appreciate you doing this to try to make it like, what you're trying to do. And it's really very much appreciated. I appreciate what all you all are doing, because I think it's really fantastic.
Well, thank you, Eric. And hey, just by the signal that you sent me by rubbing your eyes told me a lot right there about how busy you are. And don't feel guilty. We got plenty of members. Like I said, there's a third that may fit in your category. They just have too many balls in the air. They got soccer practice, and they got basketball games, and they got businesses to run, and they're just like, I can't commit to it right this second. That doesn't mean in a future year I won't be able to commit to it, but right now I can't commit to it. I'm willing to make some contributions to the program and stay involved, and we'll see where the future lies. So I totally get it, Eric. We're happy to have you. Megan?
I'm like Eric. I really appreciate you covering like what's expected, and I never want to join something I can't fully commit to. So thank you for covering what's expected, but I'm going to choose to be a sustaining member for the meanwhile until I can stop homeschooling my kindergartner and run a business. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it. So thanks.
Yeah, well, great. And we proud of you representing Sam's Club purchasing for us. We know that's a big activity, and I don't know which is bigger, trying to manage Sam's Club procurement or trying to homeschool a kindergartner. Those sound like pretty rough tasks in and of themselves.
Definitely a terrible kindergarten teacher. So I'll just completely acknowledge that.
Well, again, proud of everybody that, I feel lucky to be part of a group of talented individuals. And I've been through chapters of my life where I just couldn't commit. In fact, none of you know me that well, but in 2010, my wife passed away and I had 2 small kids. And I was on a board at the time, and I just raised my hand and said, I can't be on this board anymore. I don't have time. I gotta figure out how to dry my daughter's hair. All kinds of crazy stuff I had to figure out. So life throws all kinds of things at us, and there's chapters in our life where we have more time to give, and there's chapters of our life we have less time to give. But I sincerely have pride that I'm surrounded by individuals in a peer group of individuals that are as talented as this group is. I just didn't think it was fair for you to join an organization and not know what was going on and not know what we were trying to do, and give you an opportunity to participate if you want, and give you an opportunity to say, I can't do it right now as well. And so that was the goal of this exercise, and hopefully that was valuable. Do we have any other questions or comments?
Yeah, Mitch, the only thing I thought is that I hope everybody knows that they can go to the IEM website and look under the Academy tab and, be able to get the biographies of all the members, get the integrated framework that includes the mission, the values, and everything else, so that as you move through time and want to drill down a little bit more and understand what's going on, then that's available on the website at any time.
Absolutely. Good point. Other comments or questions?
Good job, Mitch.
Yeah, well, thanks.
Hey, Mitch, Brian Eaton here. Just want to thank you for doing this. Very well done. Really reinforces my understanding of what TCA is all about. I do think you're kind of preaching to the choir somewhat here, at least with the crowd you got for this meeting. I'm sure there'll maybe be more varied for the next couple sessions, but you got a lot of the folks here who were involved from the very beginning, and it was good to hear their perspective as well. I am currently active, want to continue to be so. I am relatively close to Stillwater, within a couple hours, so happy to contribute in any way I can.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate that and value your input. Well, it is 2:00, and I asked you to reserve an hour of your time, and hopefully it's been a good hour, and I appreciate your input and value your attendance, and we will conclude this meeting. If you have any questions after the fact, you're laying in bed and you're thinking about something you want to ask me, shoot me an email, shoot any board member or officer an email, and I'm quite certain you'll get a pretty quick response.
Thanks for your leadership in doing this, Mitch.
Thank you.
It is, yeah, is Eric still on? Yeah, there you are. Eric.